small but strong Denare Beach and their resolve to rebuild. A plea in a deadly crash. What's next for the victim's family? And the cost of crime. Saskatoon businesses air their beefs.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. Hundreds of Denare Beach residents are tired, frustrated, and devastated by the ordeal of the last month, returning to the place where their homes once stood. But as John Flatters explains, now the focus shifts to what happens next.
Some residents have been calling Denare Beach home for decades.
My dad was a commercial fisherman and trapper up in Rainier Lake, and I became a school age, so they moved down here, and I've been here since 1948. That's 77 years.
A community that grew from just 7 families to hundreds of families has been devastated by the wildfire, which nearly destroyed Denare Beach in early June.
It's sad. It's just sad. It's heartbreaking. I was just talking to a friend of mine. He lost his wife to cancer a few months ago, and now he lost his home, and he lost all his memories, the pictures and everything else. It's devastating.
Despite the destruction and disbelief at what they were looking at, locals say being back home is a weight off their shoulders.
So this is what is left of my home, and yet this feels better being here than the lost, sick feeling you were left with no supports for a month living outside of here.
I equate it to like having a wake. I always need that closure, and when I go to a wake, you get to see the person who's passed, and it gives you an opportunity to make it real and then move forward and grieve.
Now the mayor says the long road to rebuilding has begun, but first the burned debris needs to be dealt with properly.
That comes with rules and environment legislation and so on. And like a lot of stuff, nobody's ever handled that before in that capacity, so there's going to be a learning curve.
And while insurance might cover the cost of rebuilding properties in the community, residents say it won't bring back the sense of security, memories, photos, or history. John Flatters, CTV News, Denare Beach.
A Saskatoon couple is taking legal action after losing their son in an e-scooter crash. It comes as the driver who hit him has pleaded guilty. CTV's Laura Woodward now on what they're alleging in the lawsuit.
The parents of 25-year-old Austin Walker are suing the driver, the city of Saskatoon, and e-scooter company Bird Canada, alleging negligence led to their son's death. Walker was riding an e-scooter home from a friend's house last June after a night of watching hockey when he was hit and killed on Warman Road. The driver, Wade Chaboyer, has pleaded guilty to impaired driving causing death and failing to remain at the scene of an accident. He's scheduled to be sentenced next month on July 30th. Under a joint submission. In their lawsuit, Walker's parents allege Bird Canada was negligent for allowing scooters on high-speed roads, and that the city failed to establish no-go zones with the scooter company. They also allege Chaboyer was speeding and could have avoided the collision, calling the crash foreseeable and preventable. None of the allegations have been tested in court, and a statement of defense has not been filed. The family is seeking $60,000 in damages. Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The lawyers for 2 men accused of trafficking a Bangladeshi woman to work in 3 small-town Saskatchewan restaurants are casting doubt on the claims of the alleged victim. Mohammed Massam and Sohel Haider are on trial in Rosetown. Today, the defense cross-examining Jody Armstrong, a Tisdale area immigration worker who helped plan an exit strategy for the complainant, whose name is protected under a publication ban. Court heard the woman had a closed work permit to work at Bob's Diner in Elrose. The defense alleges the complainant knew she could potentially obtain an open work permit, allowing her to work anywhere in Canada if she was a victim of crime. Armstrong acknowledged the two discussed how to get an open work permit, but testified the woman had already detailed her abuse beforehand, including claims she was sexually assaulted by Massam, had wages withheld, and that the two men had made a video of her to use as blackmail. When asked if she made attempts to investigate the woman's claims, Armstrong said no, and that she had no reason not to believe her. The trial is adjourned until September 8th. Saskatoon businesses say crime is costing them more, with vandalism and security cutting into profit margins. As Keenan Sorokon reports, the Chamber of Commerce wants the city to look at ways to help.
Taylor Cross woke up to quite the surprise earlier this spring when she was told the front window of her business, 7 Sundays, was smashed. She later arrived to see a rock sitting in the front of her store.
It was definitely the straw that broke the camel's back for me.
Cross says safety and vandalism concerns are common on what 2nd Avenue business owners have come to call Plywood Avenue due to all the windows that need to be boarded up.
It's unfortunate when our staff doesn't always feel safe coming into work downtown, and we feel the need to have to protect our business in a way that a lot of people don't even really think that they would have to.
The Greater Saskatoon Chamber of Commerce surveyed more than 260 businesses across the city and found a large increase in security costs, property damage, and frequent encounters with vulnerable populations. 85% of businesses are reporting increases in security costs. 58% say insurance premiums have increased, and 25% are experiencing incidents with vulnerable populations on a weekly or more frequent basis.
Small and mid-sized companies that are also dealing with the impact of this challenge and in many ways are absorbing those costs into their business.
ABIG says not only is this happening in more places outside the downtown core, some businesses have stopped reporting incidents to police altogether.
They're also not reporting things like property damage to their own insurance companies because they know what that will do to their premiums. So they're absorbing 100% of the costs.
ABIG penned a letter to city councillors and the mayor. He wants the city to look at implementing a municipal grant to soften the blow and help businesses like 7 Sundays thrive. And Cross feels the city could make this more of a priority.
I don't have the ability to change things, but the people that do have, the people whose jobs that is, they need to do something about it.
Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A 25-year-old Saskatoon man is facing child exploitation charges following an investigation into online activity. Officers with Saskatchewan's Internet Child Exploitation Unit started looking into the case in January. Yesterday, they searched a home in the city and seized electronic devices. Thunder Johnson is facing charges of luring a child, making sexually explicit material to someone under 14, possessing and making available child pornography. Johnson appeared in court today and was released on conditions. A 31-year-old man is facing multiple charges following a drug trafficking investigation by Saskatoon police. Here's a look at what was seized during a search of an apartment late yesterday afternoon. Officers seized cocaine, meth, and fentanyl, more than $4,000 in cash, an electric moped, a scooter, and bicycle. The accused is now facing several charges related to drug trafficking. RCMP are investigating a 3-vehicle crash along Highway 11. RCMP say the collision happened near Township Road south of Warman yesterday afternoon. A truck and a car collided before a second truck collided with the first truck. 3 people, including a child, were sent to hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. Traffic in the area was detoured while crews worked to clear the scene. A collision reconstructionist is working to determine what contributed to the crash. A 66-year-old woman from Zenon Park has died following a crash in East Central Saskatchewan. Emergency crews were called to a 2-vehicle collision on Highway 23 east of Arborfield yesterday afternoon. The woman, who was the driver and only person in the car, died at the scene. The driver of the truck was assessed at the scene. Investigators are looking into what caused the crash. 2 people were seriously injured when their ATV collided with a car. RCMP say it happened last night just after 7 at Township Road 384 and Range Road 3063. Both the driver and the passenger on the ATV were taken to hospital with serious injuries. The driver of the car was not injured. And this was the scene along Highway 7, west of Rosetown yesterday. RCMP say a truck hauling a house became stuck at an intersection. Officers were at the scene for about an hour and a half helping with traffic control. The truck eventually got back on track and it was able to continue on its route. A strong thunderstorm moved through the Lumsden area yesterday afternoon. Residents say the storm was short-lived but came with intense lightning and thunder. The wind and hail damaged trees and property in the storm's path. Some houses have holes in their vinyl siding from hailstones the size of golf balls. Many gardens and flower beds have been destroyed. One Lumsden couple had bought a new truck in January. Now they're submitting an insurance claim.
And then the hail and thunderstorm rolled through, and now there's rips across the tonneau cover, so it will need to be replaced. And then there's some dents on the hood and on the roof. So I've submitted the SGI claim and in progress with them, and they'll help us out.
As the sky darkened in the west again this afternoon, some Lumsden residents were concerned that Mother Nature might be sending more thunderstorms their way. I think you have the answers to all of those questions.
Well, to some of those questions, and the general answer is, as vague as it may seem, is yes. We've got ourselves more thunderstorms rolling through the area now. That, of course, would be down in this area, down around here. So right now, it doesn't look like it's nearly as intense. But that's the thing. They don't necessarily last long. But when you've got hail the size of ping pong balls and golf balls, it doesn't, once it makes a short appearance, it has a lasting and significant damage. You can certainly see a line of storms sort of arcs across the province here. Right now, you can see we have severe thunderstorm watches in effect for parts of Saskatchewan. But right now, there are no tornado warnings because we were really worried about this part of Saskatchewan and southern Manitoba earlier today. But it looks like things are a bit on the stable side. We'll talk more about the watches and warnings later on.
Some residents in the Stonebridge neighborhood were forced from their homes following a gas leak. The Saskatoon Fire Department says a contractor was working in the backyard of a home on McIntosh Street when an excavator ruptured a gas line yesterday. 2 neighboring houses were evacuated as a precaution. Traffic was detoured around the area until the scene was cleared. Saskatchewan's former commanding officer has a new job with the service. The RCMP says Rhonda Blackmore has been hired as Assistant Commissioner of Indigenous and Support Services, replacing Warren Brown, who recently announced his retirement. Blackmore was abruptly no longer in her position as commanding officer earlier this month. Media reports cited an email from Blackmore stating she was removed from the position due to anonymous complaints against her. RCMP declined to comment on the situation. The Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations in Saskatchewan and a local petition have called on Mounties to explain what happened and to undertake an external review into Blackmore's removal. A longtime staple in Saskatchewan's political scene is retiring. Leader Post political columnist Murray Mandrick announced his retirement through his final column in today's edition of the Saskatoon Star-Phoenix and the Regina Leader Post. Mandrick has covered Saskatchewan politics for more than 40 years, providing a range of coverage, commentary, and scrutiny for elected officials in that time. In his final column, he wrote that he was proud of his kids, ending with a goodbye and a thank you. Earlier this month, columnist Phil Tank, based in Saskatoon, announced on social media his position was eliminated with Post Media. School may be out, but school zones are still in effect. School and playground zones with posted 30-kilometer-per-hour speed limits are in effect year-round from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m., 7 days a week. The penalty for speeding in a school zone starts at $170, with additional fines for every kilometer over the speed limit. The penalty for speeding in playground zones starts at $100. School resumes after the September long weekend. Still to come, a major shakeup for the Toronto Raptors. Also, another twist in the ongoing trade war. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us tonight. As Canada and the U.S. seek to reach a new economic and security agreement by mid-July, a new twist today in Donald Trump's trade war. Now he says he is terminating all trade talks with Canada immediately and putting the blame on Canada's controversial digital services. Judy Trin reports.
As the Prime Minister was hosting a virtual meeting to update his cabinet on U.S. trade negotiations, the President dropped a bombshell. On social media, Trump said because of Canada's digital services tax on American technology companies, he's terminating all discussions on trade with Canada, effective immediately.
We have all the cards. We have every single one. We don't want to do anything bad, but they have, economically, we have such power over Canada.
Speaking to CTV News after the Trump announcement, the Foreign Affairs Minister says the government is committed to continuing talks.
We will seek to have these unjustified tariffs removed. And that is the reason why we, because of the complexity of the negotiations, will not be having that conversation in public.
Tech companies that have revenues of more than $20 million, like Google, Meta, and Airbnb, are subject to the 3% digital sales tax. The first payment is due Monday. It's unclear if the Prime Minister knew this was coming, but in Brussels earlier this week, Carney spoke more cautiously about the progress of trade talks.
We'll do what's right for Canada. We're working hard to get a deal, but we'll accept the right deal with the United States. The right deal is possible, but it's nothing's assured.
Over the past several years, both the Biden administration and Trump have called the digital tax discriminatory against American companies. This former deputy prime minister says the tax can be scrapped to save negotiations.
I think the digital services tax is expendable in the context of getting a trade negotiation settled with the United States. But I don't think that you give, if you've got something in a negotiation that you're willing to give up, you don't offer that off the top.
For months, the government has been trying to get punishing U.S. tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos removed and stave off future duties. Now Trump says he will tell Canada, along with other countries, what tariff rate it will pay. The Parliamentary Budget Officer estimates that the federal government would get more than $7 billion over 5 years with the digital services tax. Analysts say it's unlikely Donald Trump will return to the negotiating table without the removal or pause of this tax. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
A Canadian tourist has died in the Dominican Republic. Authorities say Dorian Christian McDonald was staying alone at a hotel in Puerto Plata on the island's north coast. He had been walking on a beach at 2 in the morning when a 911 call was placed to report him missing. Civil defense and police found his body in the water 2 hours later. Global Affairs tells CTV News it is aware of the death of a Canadian citizen in the Dominican Republic, but no further details have been released due to privacy concerns. A group of Regina doctors is moving its education and social fund out of Canada's major banks. They want to distance themselves from institutions they say are investing in Israeli arms manufacturing. The doctors are upset over Israeli strikes that have triggered and targeted medical facilities and personnel in Gaza. They're concerned that some investment funds on the market include securities in Israel-based arms manufacturer Elbit Systems, including funds with ties to Canada's Big Six banks. The doctors say they feel their values are better represented by Saskatchewan-based credit unions as a small way to stand with their medical colleagues in Gaza.
I think what spurred it on is the conflict, the genocide in Gaza, but this would effectively move our money out of being involved in any conflict.
The Education and Social Fund is worth around $280,000. A major shakeup in the sports world. Masai Ujiri is no longer the president and vice chair of the Toronto Raptors. Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment making the announcement today. Ujiri was instrumental in steering the team and this country to its only NBA championship. Adrian Gobriel is following the story.
June 2019, Ujiri was basking in the glow of a championship. 6 years later, almost to the day, the proud president has been shown the door.
Today's not an easy day, but as you know, change is never easy.
While acknowledging Ujiri's accomplishments, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment CEO Keith Pelly felt now was the time for change.
Keith, you're in the business of winning.
What has led you and the board at MLSC to believe that the Raptors are better positioned to win without Masai than with him?
I can't unequivocally answer your question right now because I don't know the answer.
Recently, Bell Canada, the parent company of CTV News, sold its stake in the Raptors and MLSE to Rogers Communications, who are now the majority owners.
I mean, I saw Masai a couple days ago. He seemed jovial. He seemed like himself.
We now know Ujiri was told at the beginning of the month that he was going to be let go and that he asked to stay on and help the team through the NBA draft. One league insider believes the eye-opening move is about the bottom line.
This was a cost-cutting move, first and foremost. He was already one of the highest-paid executives in sports, if not the highest-paid.
Ujiri was bold and brazen when it came to his love of Canada, Toronto, and the Raptors. Fined by the league for dropping an F-bomb during an unexpected playoff run in 2014. A philanthropist championing his Giants of Africa charity, he also had the support and friendship of former U.S. President Barack Obama. In the front office, he orchestrated multiple trades, which led to a championship that he was unable to fully enjoy after being pushed by a police officer and initially refused entry onto the court to celebrate with his team. In what would be his final season-ending press conference with the Raptors in April, Ujiri, as always, had his eye on winning.
We just have to win another one, and we will win another one here. Yeah, and that's how I feel inside.
In the end, Masai Ujiri took a team that was a perennial playoff disappointment and turned them into a champion, while always encouraging Canadian basketball fans to hold their head high and always be proud of their team, their city, and their country. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
All right, Jeff, another night and day of kind of a mixed bag.
Mixed bag, and certainly this is what we have been experiencing all week long, Chantel, and it will still continue into the weekend. Things start to shape up as we get closer to Canada Day. But we'll talk about that later on. Just an update on our weather watches right now. No warnings in effect for Saskatchewan, but we can tell you there are severe thunderstorm watches in effect for areas up around Cree Lake, Key Lake, not Key Lake, but the Wollaston Lake, Uranium City, Fond du Lac, South End, that area. And then we get down in the southwest, so Yorkton, Carnduff, Estevan, and actually the city of Regina, as you can see on the edge there, and then into Manitoba as well, and parts of Alberta. But generally speaking, an unsettled situation, and we'll talk more about that later on. Let's get on to our numbers, starting off with our current temperatures. It's 22 in Saskatoon, some light rain showers in the Prince Albert area, 19 in the Battlefords, and not particularly windy in PA in the Battlefords. A little breezier in Saskatoon, but not by much. Our almanac for Saskatoon, a high of 26 degrees. 24 is typical for this time of year. 37, the record warm temperature from 2002. The record cold temperature, 2 on the plus side in 1999 and 1951. The sun came up at 4:48. It's going to go down at 9:31.
Coming up, restoring a nearly century-old Saskatchewan hotel. What's being done to give it new life?
All right, taking a look through the live lens of Skycam. We got ourselves a few clouds out there, but it looks like a fairly pleasant situation right now. We had earlier today around 3 o'clock, a thunderstorm, but I think it was mostly at the airport. Certainly it didn't reach the downtown area, so things are looking nice and green down there in Rotary Park. Taking a look at our satellite and radar shot here, as you can see, pop-up thunderstorms are bouncing around, and this is nothing new. That's what we've been dealing with for the last little bit. So let's get out of the way, Jeff, and we'll talk about these community announcements later. Let's get on to this community. 22 degrees in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, 19 in the Battlefords. And then on to our hot spot. Well, Val-Marie is the hot spot today at 29 degrees. Key Lake, the cold spot at 7. Around the province we go in the larger communities, starting off there, 19 degrees in Lloydminster, 26 in Swift Current, in Yorkton, 25 in Regina, 24 in Estevan. In central parts of the province, 24 in Meadow Lake, 21 in Kindersley, as well as in Wynyard, 23 in Hudson Bay, 19 in Melfort, 24 in Waskesiu. Up north, 14 degrees degrees in Collins Bay right now, but it does warm up to 28 degrees. That's in Sandy Bay. Island Falls is 26 in both La Ronge and Buffalo Narrows at the moment. And down south, temperatures are all in the 20s. No one's cooled off by the rain. 22 degrees in Indian Head, 24 in Carlisle, 26 in Melville, 24 in East End, 26 in Leader. Looks like we've got ourselves 25 degrees in Last Mountain Regional Park and Elbow and Maple Creek. So let's take a look and see what we've got going on here with our numbers. Come on, Mr. Clicker. Mr. Clicker, Mr. Clicker, here we go. All right, there we go. The Futurecast indicating the similar pattern that we've been dealing with. It just so happens it's a bit more active weather in areas north of Saskatoon around Prince Albert as we make our way into tomorrow morning. But then it's still sort of scattered in nature, but it seems a bit more concentrated in that area. So once again, Key Lake, Cree Lake, Wollaston Lake, a number of locations in northern Saskatchewan under a severe thunderstorm watch, and then down in southern Saskatchewan, including Estevan and Regina, as we make our way into tomorrow's forecast. 27 degrees for La Ronge, a chance of showers in Stony Rapids, 23 as well in Buffalo Narrows and Key Lake, but not dealing with rain on Saturday. Temperatures hanging around 20 degrees for west central Saskatchewan with showers and a risk of a thunderstorm in those areas. That's true of Outlook. The rest of the southwest, though, or at least other parts of the southwest, Maple Creek and Leader in particular, with mainly cloudy skies, mainly cloudy and windy in Swift Current, and temperatures hovering around 23 in the southwest. In the southeast, warmer temperatures. Regina, there's a chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm, a bit more in the way of sunshine in Moose Jaw and Estevan. And temperatures a little cooler, around 23 degrees for east central Saskatchewan, with Melfort, Humboldt, and Hudson Bay anticipating showers and a risk of a thunderstorm. The Battleford's dropping down to 12 tonight, warming up to 18 tomorrow, so not much of a warm-up thanks to the showers in the area. A bit breezy at times tomorrow afternoon. 23 on Sunday. Monday, mainly sunny and 26, and mainly cloudy on Canada Day and 26. And then as we take a look at Prince Albert, a pretty good chance of showers overnight into tomorrow. Hopefully the showers aren't a day-long affair. 22 degrees on Sunday with a chance of showers there. Almost a certainty of showers on Sunday. Monday, mainly sunny and 26, mainly sunny as well. And things are looking very good. 26 degrees for Canada Day and warming up thereafter on Wednesday and Thursday. And Saskatoon's overnight temperature 12 degrees, a 60% chance of showers. The similar situation for tomorrow with a risk of a thunderstorm thrown in for good measure. Windy conditions on Saturday, a high of 22. 22 as well on Sunday with a pretty good chance of some showers on Sunday. And then things warm up and get a bit sunnier on Monday. Mainly cloudy skies on Canada Day, but staying warm at 27 and 29 on Back to Work Wednesday for some of you. That's right. The man behind the iconic Mission Impossible theme has died. Lalo Schifrin was a two-time Grammy Award-winning film composer and a pioneer weaving jazz and rock to create musical scores of television and for film. Those films include Cool Hand Luke, Bullet, and Dirty Harry. He was 93 years old. I love the theme from Mannix. Actor Rick Hurst, best known for playing Deputy Cletus Hogg in the hit action comedy The Dukes of Hazzard, has also died. Actor Ben Jones, who played Cooter on The Dukes of Hazzard, confirmed his death and said Hurst was a professional comedian with a heart as big as Texas. Hurst had some success early in his acting career, but it was The Dukes of Hazzard that made him famous. He appeared in 55 episodes of the CBS series from 1979 to 1982. There's no word on cause of death yet, but Rick Hurst was 79 years old. That's right. Actor Ryan Reynolds and musician Heather Rankin will both be invested as officers of the Order of Canada during Canada Day festivities in Ottawa. Vancouver-born Reynolds is known for playing Marvel character Deadpool in a series of Hollywood blockbusters. Nova Scotia's Rankin has won 6 Junos with the Rankin family, in addition to numerous solo releases. They'll be joined by St. John's musician Deantha Edmonds, as well as Winnipeg sportscaster Scott Oake and Quebec writer Kim Tui, who will be named members of the Order of Canada. The Order of Canada is the country's highest civilian honor.
All right, Jeff, time for Pick of the Day. What do you have?
Well, we've got 4 today, but 2 are connected. We're going to start off with this one. This is a beautiful sunset shot with a lake. So this was taken by Mandy Greiba, taken at Sled Lake. And so, hey, thanks to Brother Corey for sharing this image. That's a beautiful shot. It's like a placemat. All right, Giselle sends us this one from Watrous. a bee feasting on a honeysuckle blossom. What a great close-up. So thank you, Giselle, for sharing that with us. Now, here we have a pair of pictures. They're June 27th birthday wishes, and they come from Lennox and Bailey, although Jen Hepner sent in the pictures. This is, we want to wish our favorite Alberta auntie a very happy 39th birthday, best auntie ever. And birthday wishes are also going out to this little girl who's running the, I think this looks like they're selling, are they protein bars? I'm not sure what they're selling, but they're 3 for $5. And Lennox and Bailey also wish a happy 6th birthday to Sweet Jane. So there you go. So we add our best wishes to Sweet Jane as well as to the favorite Alberta auntie. No name, just our favorite Alberta auntie. There you go. It's all.
She knows who she is.
That's right. CFQC News at ctv.ca is where you can send your images to us, and we'd be happy to put them on the air if they're appropriate.
Still to come on CTV News, why the Riders face an uphill battle this weekend. But up next, giving new life to a piece of Saskatchewan history. It's considered one of the oldest buildings in Shaunavon in southeastern Saskatchewan. The Grand Hotel, what was once a stopover spot for travelers, has sat empty for more than 40 years. Now, one man is on a mission to restore the nearly century-old building, aiming to return the hotel back to what it once was. Angela Stewart has the story.
Shaunavon, a quiet southwestern Saskatchewan town, built on agriculture and oil. But this small town is rooted in history. At its center stands a piece of the past, left vacant and untouched for years.
This is the definition of a neglected building and not an abused building.
The Grand Hotel hasn't lived up to its name in decades. Ken Caremaker plans to change that.
I have everything original to work with, and so the plan is to revitalize every element of the building and put it back into use.
Constructed near the end of the Roaring 20s and the beginning of the Great Depression, the Grand Hotel opened to the public in November 1929, advertising hot and cold water in all 38 rooms, steam heat, and up-to-date furnishings. One could rent a room for just $1.25 per day.
It was run as a hotel by the Chinese family until 1940, when 2 of them were actually murdered in the front of the hotel.
Just 2 months before the murders, an RCMP officer was shot and killed in the very same spot. His picture still hangs at the front of the hotel. Eventually, the Grand Hotel was turned into an apartment block, known as the Beverly Court.
Lots of people would be using it as a boarding house, as a room to rent, and spend whatever. A lot of what I can recall is that a fair number of them were young women who had come to town to work.
One of the last 2 residents to rent a unit here was Jamie Mercer, who worked in the town at the age of 17.
Looking back, I think, how did I ever stay here by myself? But 17-year-olds are kind of fearless, I guess.
Despite living alone and the building's history, Mercer made the small space her own.
I believe I had a small table right there, bed. Pretty much that was it, a bed. There is a closet, so.
Today, that same second-floor unit, once a home to Mercer, is being restored. Much like other areas in the hotel, Caremaker has already completed work on, entirely on his own.
The roof has been replaced. The bulk of the electrical, including all the switches and boxes and everything, all of the main lines coming through, has been done. I've replaced over 40 broken panes of glass, resealed and repainted all of the lower level exterior windows.
With a clear vision for the restoration, Caremaker plans to bring back the Grand Hotel's original 1929 charm.
Black and white maid outfits, and I'll be in a 3-piece suit with a pocket watch fob and everything. I don't want there to be any sign of electronics that didn't exist in 1929. Bathrooms will be shared, with a couple exceptions. Suites have private baths.
With the original 1929 boiler system out of commission, there's no running heat in the building. so work on the restoration is limited to the warmer months. Caremaker expects to have the renovations wrapped up in about 4 years' time, just in time to celebrate a grand reopening on the hotel's 100th anniversary. Angela Stewart, CTV News, Shaunavon.
When we come back, the Riders will be down a key player ahead of this weekend's big game, and there's nothing like curling up for a nap in the sun.
All right, let's take a look at tomorrow's forecast, the icons and the numbers. Well, the icons are certainly saying, ooh, it's going to be stormy, but keep in mind these storms tend to move fairly quickly, so hopefully they won't create too much damage. If they do actually create some, some hailstones or something along those lines, we hope that's not the case, but right now there's that risk. Risk of a thunderstorm and showers in many locations north and south of the Yellowhead. Watchers, it looks like, gets away with it. So does Wynyard, 23 degrees there. But otherwise, widespread spotty showers, and we'll just hope that they don't create too much havoc. Rosetown, 21 degrees, chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm. Then it's fairly placid in parts of southern Saskatchewan, although it will be windy. We mentioned that earlier on. But temperatures are looking pretty good, particularly close to the international border as we make our way towards Coronach, 27 for Carlisle. What about Langenburg? Of course, that is the home of Jess Muscaloot. There you go. Having troubles with the clicker tonight, folks. Mainly sunny skies tomorrow, 26 degrees, but as I mentioned, kind of breezy. Winds out of the northwest, 30, gusting to 50. So that's how things are shaping up in Langenburg, and Langenburg is where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
A Saskatchewan sports advocate and former journalist has died. Jacob Carr on the legacy Pete Pasco leaves behind.
We're here on what is obviously a rainy night at the Regina Lawn Bowling Club. Mitch and I, being the finely tuned athletes that we are.
After a 5-year battle with cancer, Pete Pasco has died. Pasco was an advocate for amateur sports and a longtime host alongside Mitchell Blair of Locker Talk on Access Communications.
But there was always time for, you can go right through the alphabet: archery, bowling, canoeing, diving, equestrian, fencing. I think Pete was I referred to him in my story as a human Rolodex.
Pasco will be fondly remembered by many in the journalism community, including some who got their start in the industry back in the 1990s, thanks to Pasco.
Well, one of my favorite things was Pete hired me, and then when I was the voice of the Rough Riders for a couple of years, I asked him to come and anchor our halftime at home. I wanted the broadcast to sound big with a bunch of different voices, and nobody had a better set of pipes than Pete Pasco.
Pasco also coached Regina High School football for many years, with his final stop being at Sheldon Williams Collegiate. Just before Pasco would go into palliative care, the team, organized by head coach Chris Latimer, gave their coach a heartfelt send-off.
Chris had almost the whole team do a parade up Pete Street in Lakeview, and came right up to his front door, and Pete would sit on the step and talk to all the boys.
Ball says that Pasco left a lot of ripples in the community and that he may be gone in body, but he is not gone in legacy and spirit. For Vanstone, he says it was an honor to know Pasco and that he will miss many things about Pasco, namely their scheduled lunches at the Bar Willow.
Knowing him was an absolute privilege. And it's going to be really, really tough to navigate life without being able to text him, without being able to call him, without being able to go for lunch. To Pete. Love you, Pete.
Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
The first round of the 2025 NHL draft got underway an hour and a half ago, and a couple of Saskatchewan players could hear their names called. Saskatoon's Roger McQueen did. A forward with the Brandon Wheat Kings was drafted 10th overall by the Anaheim Ducks. Last year, he only played 17 games, scoring 20 points after a back injury sidelined him. Macklin's Cole Reshney, a forward with the Victoria Royals, could hear his name near the end of the first round. He had 92 points last year, finishing in the WHL top 10 scoring. One other player, Moose Jaw Warriors forward Lyndon Lakovic from BC, also a projected first-round pick. He had 58 points in 47 games. As the Riders get ready to play at BC tomorrow at home, confirmation today that Trevor Harris will not play. Instead, Jake Mayer will get his first shot for the green and white. Donovan Mace has a preview of the action.
It's official. Trevor Harris is out for Saturday night's game against the BC Lions.
We were kind of trying to decipher what was what, but, you know, once we did declare that to put him into protocol, there's certain steps you had to take, and, you know, it just, like I said, it just didn't match up time-wise.
As a backup quarterback on any team, you never know when your number is going to be called.
As a result, backup Jake Mayer will be under center for the green and white, making his first start since being acquired by the club in December.
You learn pretty quickly that you just pretend like you're the starter. And then you wake up on game day and you're not, you know, and you're just there just in case.
Mayer has made 45 CFL starts, all as a member of the Calgary Stampeders. And despite not being cleared to play, Harris has been heavily involved in this week's preparation, something Mayer credits to his own readiness to take the reins.
Specifically likes to look for certain things throughout the week and just to be a fly on the wall on that and say, you know what, like I can adopt this.
We got full confidence to have to execute with Jake being back there.
On the other side of the ball, Lions head coach Buck Pierce remaining tight-lipped on Nathan Rourke's availability. The quarterback was a limited participant in practice all week and is listed as a game-time decision.
Today is no indication of what might happen in the next few days, so you want all your quarterbacks to make sure, you know, they're comfortable.
There's a reason coaches do it, you know. You have to be prepared for Bryce as well. So it's just part of doing your due diligence as a coach and being able to have answers for the guys.
So league rules say that BC has until 1 hour before kickoff to make a final decision on Rourke's availability. And if he's not a go, expect Jeremiah Masoli to get the nod in his place. Kickoff tomorrow night is 5 p.m. at Mosaic Stadium. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon just over $1.34 a litre. The lowest price in town, $1.22.9. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco was down $1.09 today. Nutrien finished the day at $79.66. Coming up next, just how old is a prehistoric Canadian find? And some adorable twins curl up for a morning nap.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Get comfortable and settle in with these top shows all right here tonight on CTV. Well, the oldest known rocks on Earth have been found in northern Quebec. They are estimated to be just over 4 billion years old. Jonathan O'Neill and his team found the rocks along the eastern shore of Hudson's Bay. It is a belt of volcanic rock, dark rock, with specks of green and pink. There is some disagreement, though, about the age of the rocks. The one study is saying it's 4.3 billion years old. Another one suggesting about 3.8.
Is that all?
But, you know.
3.8 billion?
But pretty cool find.
Very cool.
Yeah,
right on.
All right, well, there is probably nothing quite like curling up for a nap in the sun. That's exactly what these twin fawns decided to do at Holiday Park Golf Course. Bill Clues, who is a marshal there, sent us this photo of the pair basking in the warmth and the sun by hole number 9 by the ladies' tee box. That was this morning. They're probably just getting their nap in after, you know, or before a day of golf, right?
Exactly. Who's going to caddy and who's going to play? I don't know. They flip a coin for that.
I guess lots of critters visit, so it's nice to capture some.
Yeah, absolutely, and we thank them for that picture. There you go.
Yeah.
A quick update on, well, first of all, I'll say that there's a couple of things going on this weekend I didn't get a chance to include in community announcements. Augustana Lutheran Church is having its annual Hosanna Jazz service. That's on Sunday at 10:30 a.m. And again, that's at Augustana Lutheran Church. And there's also going to be the ham radio field day that's coming up on from noon tomorrow until noon on Sunday at the Merrill School Community Center, and that's just off of Valley Road. And if we have time, just going to mention that we've got ourselves an okay day tomorrow. Things are looking a little bit on the cool side, chance of some showers, but I also want to let you know that wind will be a factor tomorrow in Regina. 23 degrees for a high at kickoff.
Yikes. Well, we saw like a shower or two here and there in Saskatoon earlier today.
Yeah, a little bit of something. So
yeah.
And what's this?
This is all the kids that came together at Nutrien Playground Park. They were hanging out, taking in the spray pads, doing some twists and turns, but they were having fun. So that's what we're going to leave you with tonight. Have a safe and happy weekend. We're back Monday, right?
We're back. We're working Monday,
Yeah,
unless
we
you've
don't
heard
have a day
otherwise.
off, do we?
No, we do not. No. So.
Okay. Well, have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.
And hey, kids, school's out. Woo!
Thanks for watching.